Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Josh Monday Christian Conspiracy Podcast. I am your host, Josh Monday. If you don't know me, I'm a Christian rapper, devoted husband, father, and Army veteran. And we have another show for you guys today featuring Norbert Heuser. And he is awesome. He's an author and he's been on the show several times. And he does a great job at presenting. And he gives the host here a little break because I don't have to study so much before the show because he's got so much information. So awesome. How you doing, Norbert?
Good morning. Thanks a lot for having me again. I'm more than happy and privileged to be with you together.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sending me this stuff because I have everything set up in my whole house.
Cool.
So it's awesome. And I my wife loves it. She's very happy because she was worried about that kind of stuff as well, even before I talked to you. And she loves the fact that we connected.
You're talking now about the electromagnetic radiation protection.
Stuff that you send me, yeah, like the yeah all the Wi-Fi stuff, and she's very happy that you sent that. And she's we have the big one in the room. She got the necklace. She got everything going.
Big one for the room covers your entire house and garden and patio and so on, right?
Yes.
People who listen now don't understand what we're talking about. Josh and I, we did three shows about electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and geopathic radiation. You may want to look up the shows. A lot of
Yes.
information. Yes.
I'm sure most of you guys have seen it so far. A lot of my people on Spotify and then a lot of my YouTube people too. So awesome. Well, yeah. Well, all right. Well, you always pick the most popular things and show us some stuff about it that is very interesting. So this is and I don't have any tattoos. None at all. So
Good, good, good. I was concerned.
it's all right.
Right. Because, okay, so this show we're doing today, um, I named it Tattoos, a Worldwide Pandemic. A worldwide pandemic. Why do I say this? Because I watched over the years more and more people having a tattoo. The guesstimate nowadays is that about 30% of the American population has a tattoo, and the number is rising. The interesting thing is for me, it's not only rising among teenagers, young people in their 20s, 30s, whatever, more and more elderly people having their tattoos, 60s, 70s, whatever their age is, 80. Um, and I guess some of them are people who missed Woodstock and
Mm.
now trying to jump on a very modern plane. But we talk about it today. I give you some bit of a history background, but we're going to end up in the health issues. What people do not understand, that tattoos have a big impact on your health. And we're getting to this later then. Please
Yes.
interrupt me anytime for
Okay.
questions.
I'll say something first. Okay, so a lot of people bring this as a proof text for tattoos in the Bible. So this is going to be Leviticus 19:28. It says, "You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. I am the Lord." Okay, so now we would be hypocrites to use that tattoo. I mean, that tattoo, that verse, because the one right above it. And look, I have if you look at my hair. I got my hair shaved on the sides and everything. So what it says on the top verse and on 727 says, "You shall not shave around the sides of your head, nor shall you disfigure the edges of your beard." Look at I got the edges of the beard shaved and my head. So just let you guys know there's a proof text you got a lot of people using the Bible, but I'd be a hypocrite to try to use that because I shave my head and this is for the Israelites, and it's some proof text that people try to use. I just want to tell people that a lot of people use that. They try to pull stuff from Leviticus and say this applies to us today. And but Norbert's going to go over the health factors of this. All right, and I really appreciate his shows and I love it. So I'm ready for this.
Cool. Now, would you, to have tattoos, you have to have dye, which gets ends up in your skin. Would you take that dye in your food and eat it?
It's not good. The dyes are proven right now. It's proven everybody's finding out now finally because I mean even the ones that don't study conspiracies that the dyes are bad. You know the red 40s, the yellow, I don't know what it is, the blues, all that stuff is very bad, and it's finally coming to light, actually, like on a national level here in the United States. When in other countries like Europe, they did it a lot earlier. They pulled the macaroni and cheese, the yellow. They pulled all these different products off a long time ago, but America was like the last one because we're such a capitalist country.
So if somebody now answered, yes, I would put it in my food and eat it, well, all I can say, bon appetit, have a good digestion and a happy rest of your life, which won't be that happy. If no, because you instinctively fear or you're even aware that it's poisoning. So if you wouldn't eat it, why would you put it in your skin, which ends up partially in your body again? Now, the word tattoo most likely comes from the Polynesian islands in Samoa, Tahiti, and Tonga. We don't know exactly how the word came to us. It doesn't really matter, but it came. So tattoo is all around. When I was a young kid, the only people who had tattoos were the tough rough-neck sailors after they visited Shanghai, Hong Kong, and places where they got their tattoos, which were mostly masculine in nature, like an anchor or a ship or half-naked woman, perhaps a mermaid, etc., on their chest, on their forearms. This is how I, for the first time in my life, was confronted with tattoos. And I remember this vividly as a child because it was such an unusual thing. But that the average person down the street would have tattoo or teenagers was unthinkable at this time. But tattoos have been around for hundreds and thousands of years in many countries. Japan, Korea, the Philippines, Egypt, Russia, Caucasus, North America, South America. However, never by far been carried by so many people. Nowadays, it's very popular as a body decoration. But these tattoos come with a health risk, and we dive into this today because I want you to be aware of it. I don't want to condemn you that you do tattoos, but I want you to be aware of it. In my philosophy, being aware of a problem is half the solution. And basically, nobody made you aware of what I'm saying today. Not nobody, but hardly anybody will say what I say today. And I say it with all my pride and joy because I researched it, and my job is to try to bring some more truth to this world for a better life.
Yes. And it was the book of Leviticus was written in 1400 BCE, around 1440 to 1400 BCE. Okay, just to let you guys know. And they're talking about tattoos back then, right? So, yeah, great point.
So the point is that a lot of people have tattoos nowadays, more and more and more. Meanwhile, a lot of people regret that they did it, and we'll talk about this as well. Um, and there are plenty of things in history which I want you to be aware of. Quickly, a history rundown. The oldest tattoo we are aware of is 5,000 years old. 5,000 years. There was a man they found in the ice in the mountains only in the 1990s. They found this body of a man called Ötzi, a Stone Age man, 5,300 years ago. And his body is preserved. Very interesting. I was in Bolzano, which is a city in the North Italy, and he's there in a museum, and you can go and see him. And it's very interesting, very well preserved. I mean, 5,300 years. So, and while him crossing the mountains in the snow and ice, they found that he was killed. He was killed. And on top of that, they found that he had tattoos like on the wrists, on certain part of the joints. And it seemed to be that these tattoos were like for a medical application at this time already, which is surprising. Then we have pretty old tattoos in Egypt, 3,000 years ago. So these are the oldest tattoos we are aware of. So it's not new, and it's been around the block and about many countries, but not with many people. However, the Japanese culture was very strong in tattoos, and they put it to an extreme. I spent a lot of my time when I was younger in Japan and in China, and I lived with my third home in China. And the Japanese people and their culture are very extreme. Here's an image from old times of the Japanese people and their tattoos. Here is one from the 1920s where they were wearing the tattoos. And here is an image in Japan. You had gangs called Yakuza, and they were specifically wearing specific tattoos to identify themselves with this culture, which is a bit of a mafia culture. And in 1872, the Japanese government said, "Oh, no, 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 we're going to stop this. We have to ban this." They thought when they ban it, they would stop the movement of this mafia, but which didn't work. They were not impressed by this, and they still kept going on. So in Japan, you have a strong culture of tattoos, and then you have a strong culture in Polynesia. In Polynesia, the tattoo culture is very old, very traditional, and they show, like here, the body like a leggings. You think the guy is wearing a leggings, and it's tattoos up all his body, up to the upper part. And in many cases, it was a question, to which family do I belong? Here's my tattoo. It's like a barcode when you buy products nowadays. And it was a membership of families and clans which identified as this. And we have as well tattoos always as identifications to belong to a certain group, to a certain culture. And we all know by history that Adolf Hitler in the Nazi German time, he had tattoos given to people in the concentration camps. And as a young boy, I remember I was born, I'm old, but I was born after World War II.
Mhm.
But I still remember as a child when I met Jewish people who still lived and kept me living in Germany, who showed me their tattoos on their arms. And so Hitler did this with the idea to identify people. And this identification went long ways with different cultures.
We also have in America, we have, which you're in America as well, but we also have gang units that go around. They go to different, people that, Los Angeles, for example. I live in California, so we'll use that as an example. Uh, you got different gang units going around, stopping kids that have tattoos that are in gangs, taking pictures of all their tattoos so they know exactly who they are. They can identify them, and when they get in trouble, then they know exactly what gang they belong to. So when they come to prison, they know exactly where to put them in prison. And then when people go to actually jail to prison, they actually take pictures of their tattoos and they identify them, what gang they go to. They know what unit they need to put them in. And that's another way for them to identify that. Then you have MS-13, which is one of the big gangs. You were talking about maybe like masculine people. Well, you got MS-13, where these guys are very violent. They're killing people. They have tattoos all over their face. A lot of the rappers nowadays have tattoos all over their face to try to mimic these gangsters, obviously, because most of the people that have tattoos on their face that are rappers are not actual gangsters. They're just want to act like they're tough and masculine. But you have that, and then you also have the biker gangs. The 1% biker gangs that have their tattoos as well. Yeah, so it is definitely an identification today of people that obviously are acting masculine. I know a lot of the gangbangers and bikers are obviously they are masculine. They like to fight and all that and kill, but masculine in a definitely a negative way. But yeah, it's happening still to this very day.
And interesting enough, there were as well, which we is hardly known, that a lot of aristocrats, kings and queens, had tattoos. Uh,
Wow.
why, I don't know, but anyway, they had it. This here is the former, a long time ago, the King of Denmark. He was known for his tattoos, but there were other brothers and sisters in his aristocrat family. They got tattoos all over the place. So it's very widely spread. Um, Now, let's not forget about one thing up front. Tattoos are costly. They're not cheap. And sometimes when I did my research over the years, I started to look into this several years ago, not today or yesterday. And I was watching it till one day I said, I got to talk about it because apparently things are going on. I tested people about the health. So the tattoos are not cheap at all. Um, and the problem is not only that the tattoos are not cheap, they're costly. And when I talk to people, they confirm to me that they spent several $1,000s on tattoos, several $1,000s. Not only a few bucks, $50 here or there. No, it is much more. And of course, the tattoos are the tattoos parlor nowadays are all over the place to be found, not just in very remote areas. And we'll talk about the techniques and what it does to the body in a minute. Let's talk about the profession of tattooing. What is important to know is that, to my research, nobody in most or all countries who applies tattoos to their clients, the tattoo parlors, has to have any approve of ability skill exams. Nothing, no certificate, no technical college degree, no education in the sense of a real profession, or that they have to pass tests to understand what it does to the human body. Nothing at all. All you need usually for a few bucks a business registration in a city, and depending on the country, the health department may stop by once in a while to check the hygienic conditions. That's all the pressure they have, that they try to work very hygienic for obvious reasons. But what does a tattooer have to do to show abilities? Absolutely nothing. And this is for me a very scary thought. They don't have, I mean, they're handling human. I know that my wife is a nurse, and some people, when they try to be massage therapists, they have to go through training because they're working with the human body. They have to have certifications to apply a massage to a person, but to apply technical equipment and ink and dyes, you don't have to prove anything.
Wow.
That's for me a scary thought. So what I did was, in my research, I went to tattoo parlors and played the stupid, the idiot. And I said, okay, my daughter would like to have a tattoo. I have some reservations. Are there any health consequences which we have to be aware of? Every single one answered me, not at all. Not at all. No health consequences. You can do whatever you want. We take care of the hygienic standards, and that's all you have to be concerned about. But no health consequences. They didn't know nothing about it, which I'm going to present to you in a few. Now, all they had to do was show artistically talent, which is a very flexible term. What is artistic?
I think in some states they require a license, but it's for a bloodborne pathogen training. I think in some states, but not all. So yeah, it's not like it's mandatory in all states. It's just in some states in the United States.
Well, to get tattooed falls for me under the heading of voluntary mutilation.
Yeah.
Body voluntarily body harm, right? That means the person who tattoos you harms your body and commits intentionally mayhem with no legal consequences. If something goes wrong, or you don't like the tattoo you're getting, sorry, you're out of luck. That was it, you know?
Yeah.
So once I completed my research, I started to decide to teach in my seminars about tattoos. To be aware of the problem, my philosophy is half the solution of a problem. And then when I offer you today, whatever I offer you today, listen to it, look at it, think about it, and whether it makes sense, and if it makes sense, which consequences it has for you. It's not only about you. Perhaps I can motivate you, and you see why, not getting a tattoo. It's as well for others, like you have children, grandchildren, that you do a strong influence. I mean, you would not accept easily and tolerate if your children would take crack because you know it's dangerous. So you would try
Yeah.
everything in the book to avoid that, right? Once you know what tattoo now does after today's shows, with the same level of intensity, you should try to avoid under any circumstances that your children get tattooed, right? Now, the big problem is, of course, that tattoos nowadays is a part of a new lifestyle. A new lifestyle. And to be a part of a group, to be accepted, to be not bullied, means perhaps to have tattoo. When I was young, I got bullied because I never drank alcohol. In my young age, it was standard that a teenager would drink alcohol or that you would smoke, but I never smoked. Not regular cigarettes and not heavier stuff. I never did, but I was bullied a lot. And thanks to one person of my age, this person with 2, 3 sentences changed my entire life. And I could never find this guy again back from school to thank him. He doesn't even know that 2, 3 sentences changed my entire life. And we underestimate sometimes a word. We think, oh, we said that, but it had no effect. We do not know the long-term effect of things we say to
Mm.
people,
Yes.
what makes them think. And I can tell you in my example, this guy made me think a lot, and he changed my life.
Did you
So
grow up in Germany?
yes, of course.
So
I
even in the army, when you're in Germany, they allow you to have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when you're stationed in Germany, they allow you to have beer, like one beer or something. I can't remember what it was, but it really surprised me because you're not allowed to do that in the. I don't think they do it in the United States at army bases. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember that them offering anything like that in AIT. But if you're stationed in Germany, they offer you beer there because it's like just a normal thing, right?
Yes, you should think so.
Hmm. Sorry,
Um,
just wanted to ask.
oh no, no, no. It's well, I was born and raised in Germany. I came as an adult, very aged, to the United States, but all my education and my school training, which was just high school, and now I just got finished high school. I never went to college or university, and I'm happy I never did, um,
Yeah.
because otherwise I would have not accomplished what I accomplished today. So after all this research, I felt an obligation to talk about it. So let's start with the dye themselves. I'm a management and life health consultant, and one of my targets is to support people to make them healthier, to live a healthier life. And a big part of this is, to my philosophy and thesis, we are not ill, we are poisoned, which then turns out to be some form of illness. For me, cancer, Parkinson, these are all illnesses as a consequence of poisoning. We are poisoned, whether it's electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, whether it's in the food, of course, not only the dyes and the plastics nowadays, but the heavy metals. We're all too acidic, blah, blah, blah. So we all have these situations which then manifestate in some sort of illness. So the doctor, of course, wastes their time to go after certain symptoms while they never stop the cause, which is we are poisoned. And one of the big poison we have is our heavy metals, of course. Heavy metals, very, very dangerous for the human body. And I try everything in the book to work with my clients in my health consultancy to make them aware of the food, of the plastic, of the poisoning, of the chemicals, of the dyes in the food, and so on, to stop that, to reduce it, to stop it. In long-term consequence is a healthier life. So we try everything in the book to stop heavy metals to get into your body. Now, when we do the tattoos, the dyes are full of chemicals and heavy metals. So
Mm.
while we're trying here to stop it, people suck it in by the millions of particles. You have in all these dyes, you have heavy metals. And most of these dyes are coming from the paint industry, the car paint industry. Actually, car paints are used to create the dyes, or from the printing industry. And on top of that, a soot, which is not very healthy as well. So we have these dyes full of zinc, cadmium, and nickel. Clearly, these materials should be absolutely not in our body. So it doesn't make sense for me if somebody lives a healthy life and goes to a health food store to buy organic food while he's sucking in all the chemicals and the metals in the dyes from the tattoos. So they don't match any health standards. And trust me, those dyes do not come from an organic farm. They come from heavy chemical plastic industry. And the University of Regensburg, a city in Germany, they tested 20 dyes in 2013 already and confirmed that these dyes can cause cancer, to which we comment in a second. So there are about 100 different technical substances, as well textile dyes, foaming agents. And on top of that, many people who have a tattoo parlor, they themselves mix the dyes. So it's not only that you analyze a certain dye and the chemicals, but at the same time, people mix those different dyes, which then create new additional chemical reactions, which were not tested. So, okay, so the dyes are very, very, very dangerous to your body and to your health. Now, the dyes are applied by pinpricks. And these pinpricks, of course, go 1 to 3 millimeters deep into your skin. About 190, 120 pinpricks per second into your skin, 1 to 3 millimeters deep. You have to do that in order to apply the design of the tattoo. And these machines are very expensive and very special and very penetrating. And it's amazing how little people are aware of what it does here. The graphic shows how deep it runs into your dermis. Now, that would be one problem. But the next problem is, and here's the big issue, these dyes create the design of the tattoos, but about, one thinks, I guess, about 30% of these dyes don't stay in the skin itself to create the image. About 30% or perhaps even more will enter the body itself. Now, what does that mean when it enters the body? The body recognizes that it is dangerous. When you pull in a splinter in your finger, a wood splinter, we all have done that. In less than a second, your body's immune system realizes here is a product which shouldn't belong here. It should not be in the body. And what the body does, it sends his immune activators, fighters, soldiers to fight that product. And what it does, the macrophages try to encapsulate that product to say, look, you are an enemy. We have to neutralize you. That body does it automatically without you controlling it. So when you had a splinter in your finger, you may have realized you got an inflammation immediately, right? It became red and became exposed.
It's like painful too. It's like it's instantly like super. It gets really painful too when you touch at the touch.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And we all have done that more or less several times in our lives. So it shows you how fantastic the body is constructed. The body realizes you don't belong here and wants to get rid of it and sends white blood cells to fight this particle. And the white blood cells die in their mission impossible, pus.
Pus. Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right.
So when people say, "Oh, pus is very
Gross to people. Yeah.
gross," right? In pus is nothing else than dead white blood cells, which not survived to attack these products which are in your skin, right? That's all there is to it. The dead white blood cells. Now, what do they do now? The dead white blood cells, what they do is, or the blood cells in general, the white blood cells, they try to encapsulate these paint dyes. And this is what it looks like in a graphic. So they encapsulate the dyes, which are not sitting in the skin, which penetrated the skin further low and end up in your body. And what it happens now, and this is a very strange situation, the white blood cells with these dyes end up in the lymph nodes. Now, the lymph system is your primary defense of your immune system. very complicated, very important to your health. So a lot of these dyes are not sitting in the image itself, but they're coming into the lymph system and the lymph nodes. Tattoo dyes end up in the lymph nodes. And we assume that these substances will probably sit there for the rest of your life and compromise your immune system, means your health. This is hard to get the idea that this may happen, but people are not aware of it. And again, in the tattoo parlor, they were never aware of it. When I asked them, are there any health consequences? Oh, no, they're not.
Mhm.
So here is an image. They did some tests and deceased human beings which had tattoos, they cut the lymph nodes, they cut them off to look at the lymph nodes. And here is the lymph nodes of a dead person, of course. And you can see that the paint, the dye of the tattoo was primarily green and yellow in color. So the lymph nodes is full of green and yellow dye,
Mm, interesting.
which means the lymph node cannot do its job. It's compromised because it's loaded with these chemicals, with this plastic, with the metals, with this material. And when the person had black and reddish tattoos, this is the lymph nodes of a person who had black and reddish tattoos. In consequence, the lymph node is full of black paint sitting in the lymph nodes all the time. And they had these tattoos done several years before they died, and it was still sitting there. And we don't have long-term studies. We don't have long-term studies which tells us how long will those paint be sitting in the lymph nodes. We assume at this point it's for the rest of your life, which means for the rest of your life, your lymphatic system, which is extremely important for your immune system, uh, is bothered, is compromised, is not functioning optimal.
There's a study done by Harvard Health Publishing that talks about this as well. 90,000 people diagnosed cases a year. Lymphoma is one of the most common types of cancer, and it's actually connecting exactly what you're saying to tattoos.
Yes, thank you. Very well done. Very well done. And the Swedish government has made a study of, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 17,000 people who died, and they found a 20% higher risk, increased risk of lymphatic cancer.
Yeah, and if you have a family history of lymphoma, definitely they say not to. You're at higher risk of getting lymphoma if you get a tattoo. If you have a family history of it, that's what they found in the study.
So, bottom line is very simple, my philosophy. Um, if God would have wanted us to have tattoos, he would have done so. He would have done so. And my famous, perhaps meanwhile famous gravestone, rest in peace, mankind is extinct, because they believe that the laws of nature did not apply to them. The problem is we don't live with nature, we live against it. And the quotes you gave from the Bible, again, confirm the original thoughts, which confirm my philosophy, that there are things we are not supposed to do, but nobody listens.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in if you read in the Old Testament and Leviticus that are warning you against things that will affect your health, which people would never even think that that we find out now that there's a lot of proof to it. Like even the eating of pork, there's no pores on the pork on the pig, so it's a lot more unhealthy for people. There's just examples and also mixing different fibers like in clothes it causes there's it causes cancer as well, like polyester and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
And this is just an example. this is mainly for any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. I am the Lord. So this is warning you against it. Now, what this is not saying like if you do this, if you have a tattoo, you're going to hell. That's not what it's saying. It's just warning them against it. And especially the Israelites at that time, because the book of Leviticus was mainly to set the Israelites apart from everybody else, which means to be holy. And this is part of being holy is not having tattoos. That's what the Bible's saying in that area.
Yeah, and when I discuss with people when we talk about pork meat, a lot of people, of course, refer to the Muslims, and I said, look, it's in the Bible as well. It's
Hmm.
not the Muslim word, right? People are not
Yep.
aware of it. It's all about that certain things have been recognized as being bad for you. And in most of the religions, you have fasting ceremonies where you should be fasting. Why? To cleanse the body. And that's thousands of years ago, not yesterday with chemicals and plastic, right?
Yeah, and then Jesus too. Jesus doesn't say like if you fast, he says when you fast. So he recommends it. Now I'm not one to talk because I don't fast really. Like I could do intermittent fasting, yes, but for me, I don't know. I just harder. I lift weights and stuff, so it's harder for me to fast for like a vast amount of time. Like a day or two. But I need to do it. So Lord, bless me with the strength sometime.
So the other consequences are the consequences of tattoos. You have an immediate inflammation. It's very normal. You get hundreds and thousands of pinpricks in your skin. You have an immediate inflammation, a very dangerous period um, to heal again, and to be careful about particles may enter your skin, which are open wounds. You must think about these pinpricks. Every pinprick is an open wound, like you stab yourself with a knife, right? It's an open wound. You have to treat the open wound respectively that nothing happens, no infections, right? But typical reactions are allergic reactions of these different dyes and the materials and the nickel and so on. Then you have a scarring. When the body recognizes foreign bodies entering the skin, it surrounds it with tissue growth to protect the surrounding area. It's an automatic reaction, and there's extra tissue growth appearing there. Then you have a hypersensitization. The skin is very sensitive, and the sunlight, the UV rays, break down the ink molecules, releasing toxic while you have the ink in your skin, but there is a chemical reaction due to the UV rays. And we know carcinogenic substances. Now, another point is there's an energy disconnection. You have in your skin, the body has a lot of electricity, energy in your body. And through your skin runs a very ultra fine layer of electricity. And this ultra fine layer of electricity through your skin is interrupted by all these many holes. Every time you have a scar, a regular scar, or a surgery, a cut, these energy flows are disconnected, are interrupted, which in long-term consequence has health consequences. Nobody basically talks about it, that every scar has a negative consequence of this energy flow.
Mm, I haven't heard that.
Now, you must make a basic decision in your life. You want a tattoo, yes or no? And the risk with that decision, we're working on this now, we're talking about this now. And the risk lies in yourself, nobody else. Of course, if you take the pressure of your group around you, of your friends, and they decide for you, which means you don't decide for your own life. If the social pressure is so big that you have to have a tattoo to be cool, which means you are not deciding your life. Now, as we said, about 30% of the population has tattoos. The number is getting bigger by the day. And it's not the point to have a tattoo. You can see that most people don't stop with one tattoo.
Yeah, they
Like,
do a whole Like people are getting whole sleeves on their arm, like on both arms. Yeah. And it's coming to the neck. And jobs used to be kind of not okay with it coming to the neck or being on the sleeves, or on the hands. They said they'd be okay with the sleeves as long as you have it covered, but now the jobs are kind of just getting more accepted. Before Norbert, you go on. This is a study that's published in 2024. So there was a larger, it compared 1,398 ages 20 to 60 who had lymphoma with 4,193 people who did not have lymphoma. And they said that lymphoma was 21% more common among those with tattoos. Lymphoma risk varied depending on how much time passed since getting the tattoos. Within 2 years, lymphoma risk was 81% higher. Between 3 to 10 years, no definite increase in lymphoma risk was detected. 11 or more years of getting tattoos, lymphoma risk was 19%. So this is a study that they did. There's not a whole bunch of studies. They said there's only like two studies that they could find that Harvard was bringing up the correlation between lymphoma and tattoos. So just to let you guys know, there are some studies out there on this.
Thank you very much. It supports my ideas and my findings.
Hmm.
And I'm happy that there are some studies coming out, even though not many,
Yes.
so that
Yeah, there's not. You're right.
people over the last 10 years, when I talked about tattoos, of course, 10 years ago, there was nothing around, and people thought I'm a lunatic. There's nothing that's beautiful, it's harmless. So I'm happy these studies do come out, that people understand what I'm saying is not, I'm pulling this not out of thin air. There is basic information there. Now, we talked about the danger, the health dangers, which are apparent. Um, and again, look at it that every prink is a damage of your body, of your health, an attack to your body and to your health. And it's not over, as I explained, after you've done the tattoo, after the inflammation has faded after a week or two or three. It's a long-lasting, lifetime threat to the health of your body because of your lymphatic system and the dye. And more when I meet with doctors, they confirm after surgeries that they find more and more dyes in other organs in the body. They were first shocked when I found it the first time, not being educated in that, being completely surprised. But then they put the dots together and they saw now what happened. Okay, so I think we have covered this part of why people have health consequences. Now, the big question for me is, and was, why do people have tattoos? And my thoughts, which I like to share very openly, very frank, there are different motivations. One motivation is to belong to a group where you have to have tattoos to be accepted as their people. Like it used to be like with cigarette smoking, which thanks God over the years have faded.
Oh
Uh,
man.
You don't
Yeah.
need to smoke cigarettes to be accepted by a group, right?
Yeah.
I was around a lot of musicians, rock and rollers, and some of them very famous musicians. And it was standard that you would be drinking alcohol. And if you wouldn't drink alcohol or take drugs, you wouldn't be a true artist. And I remember I was invited to a show with Pink Floyd, and we were behind stage in their private area, where meanwhile they had their kids and grandkids with them on the tour, right? And I remember a concert here in Tampa where they invited me to. I was very happy about this concert, great thing. And it was normal for them to drink orange juice. While 20 years before, people would have said, what's wrong with him? Orange juice? Nowadays, you can go with the heaviest people and bikers, rough guys, into a restaurant and drink water or orange juice, and nobody gives you the look or hard time. So the one problem is that people think in their social life they have to have tattoos to be accepted by their friends. And this is, of course, a very dangerous trend, because we know that these friends have a stronger input on you than your own family. And I am very clear, can confess that my youngest daughter, though I warned her 100 times, once she became 18, she put a tattoo on. Today, now, of course, she knows that how stupid she was, but she wouldn't listen to me. Even to me, who did all the researches, she had all the information. I could not convince her not to do it. And this shows us simply that these social groups, these internet and social networking, has in many cases a stronger impact than your own word as a parent.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's almost like when you tell somebody no, they want to do it even more. And that's kind of, it's just that rebel uh teenage uh thing that they go through, And it's like when you say no, 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 it's almost like they just want to do it and
It's opposition.
rebel.
Yeah, they want to ignore opposition. They want to fight
Yes.
opposition, right? So there is another twist to all this. One twist is that people think that tattoos are very artsy, a form of self-expression. Problem is that when people say, I do it because it's so beautiful, it's art, right? In many cases, they don't even see their own art on their body. It's on the back, it's on their skin where they don't have immediate contact to watch it, to see it. And even if they have it on the front, on their chest, on their neck, they only may see it when in front of a mirror. And if they have written words, they can't read them because they're in the mirror, they're mirrored. They cannot see them. And I came across one example. This woman had on her back, on the lower back, close to her butt, she had engraved, tattooed in Arabic. And I said, what does that mean? Do you speak Arabic? She says, no. I said, what does it mean? It means kiss my butt, you know? It was not butt,
I
a stronger word, but so
yeah.
she couldn't even read it. She couldn't speak the language. So it's all kind of irrational behavior. Um, and they put themselves through this. And artwork, well, art is a very flexible expression. What scares the crap out of me is that I look at children, 2, 3, 4-year-old children, where the parents have tattoos over the body. I try to imagine what impact does that have on a child's life, on the child's education, opinion about art, about our body, how to treat our body. We always say that parents should have and set a good example. And I'm asking, do you really love your children? Do you want to give them the example of this kind of art, which in many cases are weird tattoos? We're not talking only about a nice flower or something, a sunset. And there are a lot of demons as well involved in tattoos.
Yeah. I know
And
yeah, definitely. There's a sect of people that are getting tattoos that are definitely demonic for sure. Yeah. I would agree with that for sure.
so it scares me, the idea that children grow up with this. And this is their standard of what is nice and what you should do in life, right? And I doubt these parents who do that, that they love their children, because they cannot put themselves into the idea, how does it look from a child's point of view? How scary is it? How upsetting is it? Well, that's what I think it is. Now, there's another twist to it, um, which I should talk about. It's a bit delicate. So when we ask, why do people have tattoos? I think in many cases, it's a lack of self-esteem. You think you're not beautiful. You think you're not attractive. God has made you the way you are.
Mhm.
And every person is beautiful. Every person is beautiful. Every person is unique. With something you personally like or don't like, okay, fine. But you don't become more valuable if you wear 10 tons of gold around your neck. You don't become more valuable if you have tattoos. Do you want to distract from yourself, that
Yeah,
people don't look at you the way you are? You want to give them a Sunday picture of something which is unreal. So I beg you, before you do your tattoos, look into yourself. You are beautiful. You are unique. And you have values. Everybody has value. I say to my children when we meet people in the streets who are asking for money, who don't have a home, I said to my children always from day one, all these people know something I don't know. Everybody has a value.
of course.
Everybody has something to offer. Sometimes it doesn't come out or it doesn't shine or we don't see it immediately. But so I believe that a lot of these tattoos are happening to distract from yourself, to not be able to confront yourself, look in the mirror and say, I'm fine the way I am. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
It definitely does. Yeah, and obviously the like you were saying, the tattoos that you can't even see, they're meant for other people to see, and that's what it's meant for, for going to the beach, taking your shirt off, people could see it. I mean, you can't see it on your back or whatever, like you were saying. So yeah, it's definitely meant for that. It's like a wow factor, when you have sleeves and sometimes it has to do with like you said, identification, has to do with art. And obviously we're not judging anybody that's doing tattoos at all in any way. And I'm not definitely when people do tattoos, it's up to them. All Norbert wants to do is just make you aware of the health risks, which that's what he's mainly most of his he's focused on. Most of his is exposing the evil of the people that started these things in the first place. Now, a lot of people will not feed their children macaroni and cheese. They won't feed them all these different, Red 40. They won't feed them M&Ms, and but they'll still end up tattooed up, and then kind of basically showing the kids that it's okay to get tattoos. But I think it's mainly because most people are not aware of what you're going over with tattoo ink and stuff like that. It's not really talked about. It's not a but you're starting to see it now on social media where I've seen a few posts pop up talking about the dangers of tattoos. And so it's kind of a little bit showing up, but it's not like really super popular.
Well, it's not in the education. It's not taught in school. And here's the problem. These alternative movements now, which I'm one of them, I consider myself an internal movement. Um, that's good. But what is needed is that medical doctors are educated. A medical doctor will work with your symptoms, not even imagining that the tattoos the person have may cause those symptoms they're working on. So it's missing in medical school and it's missing in school education. I mean, if you're not taught in school about these dangers, like they talk about a lot of, I think nowadays about drugs, right? And crack and all these different dangerous products, but they don't talk about tattoos. The school has to talk about it. Parents have to understand it first, and the school to pass it on to stop that movement. Now, there's of course one thing very interesting. Like I have this image here of this woman um, who has her tattoo there, and is an example where she doesn't see herself the tattoo. It's on her back. What's the use? We talked about it. Okay, good. Now, then there's the removal part. Let's talk about the removal part. The more people have tattoos, the more people regret that they did the tattoos and say openly, I shouldn't have done that. That was a big mistake. There are different techniques now to remove tattoos, of which laser is one. What it does, the laser kind of is attacking the dye particle in your skin, and it explodes the ink. It's like an explosion, okay, which partly goes up in the air, but then partly goes back into your skin and lymphatic system. So it's the same process like you did get with the lymphatic penetration with the dyes. But now if you try to eliminate the tattoo images, you may eliminate the image, the look in your skin, but the paint has to go somewhere. And if it doesn't go up in the air, it goes back deeper into your body again, right? And it's not scar-free, and it's very painful, I've been told, and it's very costly, I've been told. That's the removal. Yes, a lot of people go that route and say, look, I'd rather remove it painfully and costly, and it costs me another health issue if they are, but mostly they're not aware it costs a health issue. There's a very practical, very practical recommendation I can give. If you consider to put a name in the tattoo after a beautiful summer night, and you found the love of your life, at least you thought in this moment she is the love of your life, and you put her name Mary in your skin, you may reconsider that, because typically a name has to survive 2 to 3 marriages. And the marriages pass faster than the tattoo will do. So you carry that name around for a long, long time. So if you put baby or honey, whatever, that's more neutral. You can apply it to every new partner you have. But I don't know whether your partner loves the idea of carrying the Mary name for the next 10 years next to you. So
Yeah.
there is an extreme example of tattoo. There is this lady called Cat D.
Yep.
And Cat D is a, what do you call them nowadays? Opinion leader. There are influencers, you call influencers. And Cat D is an extreme tattoo artist. And she once made a statement that she hated her tattoos, partially, which was being added when she was drunk or on drugs, whatever she said there, some kind of statement. I can only paraphrase. And she hated it that much that she had a very clear consequence, which I want to show to you as an extreme. She said, okay, fine. The only way to get rid of the tattoos on my leg is to make a total black tattoo all over the leg. To hide the tattoos, I'll make my entire leg black all over to get rid of these tattoos I don't like anymore. This is, of course, an extreme position. And she came up with this sentence here. Cat D is her name, says, before anyone starts criticizing, I encourage you to remember that it is okay not to like or even understand things. Okay, which is called tolerance. Another expression for tolerance. And I understand her when she says that. We don't have to like everything somebody does, and that's okay. I don't get bothered, really, nowadays by tattoos. And the only thing which bothers me is when it becomes demonic and in regards to the children.
Yeah, one thing I want to add, Kat Von D, she actually became a Christian in 2023. So she renounced her occultism, which she was definitely deeply into. So it kind of goes along with what you were saying about it having to do with witchcraft and demonic, not all tattoos, but there's a realm of it, like you said, and she was part of that in that realm. That's why she started covering up her tattoos. She became a Christian, so praise God of that, you know. And she's an influencer. Obviously, she had a huge audience, so for her to do that, a lot of her audience was into witchcraft and the occult, and then she switched to Christianity, right? So that's awesome, you know. Praise God for that.
Very good. Now we're getting closer to the end of my show, and I want to mention something here, and I would like to offer you whenever you're up for it. We have a similar situation with tattoos with piercings. And if you're up to it, I would like to offer you to do a show on piercings,
Okay.
because you will find that many people have tattoos, have piercings as well, and vice versa. And let me touch here one subject, which I should mention. It's not only that you have the piercing. Do you see the image here of the acupuncture image?
I'm seeing it says, allow me to summarize as a result the toxin compounds
Okay.
used in tattoos.
Okay, there's something wrong here with my images.
It's okay. We'll figure it out here.
Excuse me. Here it is.
Okay. Perfect.
So I should mention this, and if we talk about piercings one day, we'll talk more about acupuncture points. The human body, according to Chinese medicine, which I looked into as I was spending a lot of my life in China, I had my third home in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong. I got in touch with Chinese medicine. You have what you call meridians, which are called highway of energy in your body. And along the meridians, you have 400 acupuncture points. And just one word about it, if you have tattoos, you will most likely hit with the tattoos loads of acupuncture points, which again have different health consequences, which again we could talk some other day when we talk about piercings. So allow me to summarize as I'm getting close to the end here. Um, we laid it out, the idea where tattoos come from, a bit of the history. We laid it out about the health consequences, which nowadays I can say, and what you quoted there is undoubtedly fact. Whether you accept it or not is not the issue. The issue is that you're aware of it, regardless what the industry says. And as always, you cannot listen to medical doctors because unfortunately, medical doctors do not know that, the vast majority. 95% of the doctors are disgraced. They cannot think holistic. They have no idea. Once they left university, they did not study and educate themselves with what's going on in society. And we have to detox. Now, I looked into this with my technology. You have to detox yourself. The dyes in your body, and we're talking about the dyes in your skin, they're sitting there building the image. That's too late. And the holes, the pricks, all that, that's too late. But what is not too late and what you should do, you have to detox yourself. We always have to detox, everybody of us, because every day we live, we pull in chemicals, heavy metals, microplastics. Like we brush 2 or 3 times a day our teeth, because we know once in life that wouldn't do it, right? So we have to detox ourselves every day, because every day we pull in new chemicals. We do this every day. So we have to detox ourselves. To detox ourselves means we have to be active. Detoxification does not really go completely by itself. It goes by the way you live, healthy life. The more healthy you eat, the more healthy you drink, the more healthy you live mentally, the more you do detox yourself. This is just a fact. That's the way it is. And we should do that all the time. Detoxification is a needed action, is really needed. And if you understand the concept, you know that living healthy is not enough. You have to actively detox yourself. So I looked with my technology into the situation, what I can do to help the people. I developed then a product. Can you see it here?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. The SD1 Human Protect help with flushing tattoo dyes. So this product supports for you to flush out dyes, chemicals, plastics, heavy metals, harmful products in your body. It doesn't protect it from outside to get into your body, but it protects it in the terms of we help you to flush it out. And this has been scientifically tested by the Visa Institute in Austria. And these tests are on my website, over 1,500 pages of tests of all my products. So it's called the SD1 Human Protect. I wear it here on my body all the time. All my clients do it.
What an awesome show so far. Very, very interesting information. Like I said, we're not trying to judge anybody that has tattoos. He's just trying to show you the dangers. And there is definitely a lot of studies out there. Even that Harvard study that I was looking up, the Harvard study, it is it was saying that there's not that many studies out there, so there's just a few, trying to prove that it causes lymphoma. But
And the last thing I mentioned was that I have developed this product to help people. This is not a medical guarantee, and I'm not medical um, approved by the FDA. I cannot give a medical advice. However, it has been scientifically tested by the Visa Institute, so we can actively help somebody to reduce the content of poison in their body. Not only dyes for tattoos, but as well for every other kind of chemicals, harmful substances in the body. It's called SD1. To give you a price idea, it's $300. It's guaranteed for 10 years, and we have results proving that we are effective with it. We cannot give a guarantee, as I said, because we're not approved by the FDA, and we don't want to go there. It's not a medical device, but it's a very strong supportive product, which you can wear around your neck like I do, or you can see it here, or you can just put it in your pocket, in your pants. It will do the same thing. Good. The very last thing, let me remind you again that we should not live against nature. Tattoos are not nature. They are not God-given. And you heard the quotes Josh gave you from the Bible. You got to do something about it there. And my definition of health is body and mind in harmony. You got to live in harmony. And here's my website. If you have any questions, if you want to look up things, other things I do, if you have questions, critics, information, please don't hesitate to contact me. And I'm, as always, thankful to Josh to give me the platform to get the knowledge out there, which I accumulated, which I believe is true as I can say it. And if I make a mistake, sorry, forgive me, but I try to be okay.
yes, every time you come on, you're very thorough. And yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, and I'll try to hook you up with Apollo for his show. Um, for his Apollo, the original podcast, and hopefully I can get you on there. And yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And yeah, like I said, we're just trying to make people aware of things that are not mainstream that you don't really get to hear. So that's what a conspiracy show is all about, exposing evil and exposing agendas. So thank you for coming on again. And we'll, like we always do, Norbert, we'll end this in prayer, okay? So
And maybe CNN will give you and me a job, right?
yes,
We-
CNN. Yeah, if they gave me a job, it'd be insane. Yeah, people
Thank
wouldn't
you.
like my show too much. It'd be Christian. No, no worries. Thank you. So, Father
Thank you.
God, in the name of Jesus, thank you so much, Lord. All Norbert's trying to do is just expose evil, and obviously the elites do not want us to live long, right? They want to try to give us as many metals and dyes and whatever they can give us to make it so we don't live long. But Lord, as we see, the Queen of England and the Rothschilds and all these people that are elites are living to their 99 or 100 years old. So, Lord, we just want to say thank you for every single day that we do get to live. We want to say thank you for the food that we eat and the water we drink. And we appreciate everything you do for us, Lord. Thank you for that. And just protect Norbert as he's traveling and going to different conferences. And, he's exposing things that obviously the elite that we were talking about, the evil people in this world, do not want him to expose. So please put a hedge of protection around him and his family and his wife. His wife's a nurse, so I know that she is helping people daily, right? So please put a hedge of protection around her and also Norbert. Thank you, Lord. We appreciate you and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you once again. Everybody that's listening, I shouted all of you guys out. Everybody that comments on YouTube, Spotify, and anybody that's ever left anything on Apple, we really appreciate you guys and we love you. So thank you and God bless you.